this week, Charlie Sheen has spoken out about how he was diagnosed as HIV positive 4 years ago. Sheen said he hopes by going public with the diagnosis that it will help dispel the stigma of HIV, and hopefully others will come forward and say, thanks, Charlie. So, Lonnie, my question to you is, do you think HIV and AIDS is a disease that, we just don't talk about?
There's this stigma of, how did he get it? Mm-hmm. We all get nosy. We all start assuming things.
And judgmental.
And we get judgmental. And that's why for 4 years he didn't come out. I mean, he actually is reported that he paid $10 million to people that were blackmailing him. And so, and it was freeing for him to at least, admit it. And now the world knows. And now it's now he can do something about it. Because as long as you keep it in, it's a lot of stress and everything. Yeah. So I commend Charlie for coming out.
Absolutely.
But we still, we often wonder, how do we attribute it to loose people? We attribute it to gay people. We attribute it to drugs. And, some of that might be true, but anybody can get it.
Absolutely.
That's the thing that people need to realize. Anyone can get it. People need to understand their health and need to take it seriously.
Absolutely.
Because life is very short.
Of course. Of course. No, I think one thing I appreciate, because we can learn something from every piece of media news, especially people being put in the spotlight, is that we do get too comfortable with sex. Sex is an activity, you guys. Just that one moment of bliss could change the rest of your life forever. And we forget sometimes with the songs that encourage it, that moment, I kind of, it took me back to high school when they first teach you like sex ed classes. And you remember some of those pamphlets?
Oh.
You remember some of those photos?
Yes.
And I mean, we haven't had that since you were in high school, that you were reminded about the severity and the seriousness of sexual interaction.
And I can remember growing up, people were dying of AIDS at an alarming rate.
Right.
So I educated myself on the topic. And what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually go undiagnosed for years.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's very, very important, if you are having sex, you choose to have sex, protect yourself. Have safe sex, because you never know.
Have responsible sex and have respectable sex with one another. And that's where it comes with your past and your history, who you're involving in your life forever.
I feel like my life has really been affected by HIV, AIDS, because I've experienced a lot of family members, a lot of friends and family that were affected by it. And I think I saw so much of that growing up. And it's strange that this new generation is almost unfamiliar with HIV, AIDS, and they don't have the fear that I grew up with of getting it, because, we grew up in a generation of, sadly, they look at things like, they're like, oh, Magic Johnson had it, he's cured. And you almost sadly have a stigma that it only affects a certain type of person.
Right.
And I think that Charlie coming out and speaking about this is great, because it reminds us that, this disease does not discriminate. And that anyone can have it. It does not matter where your tax bracket falls. It does not matter, where you live, what race you are, it does not affect that. And I think, again, you just have to be careful. In everything that you do, be careful, and that it can affect anybody. And it brings awareness again, which we need that.
Not only that side, but think about, is her name Bree, that's going through her side of the situation with Charlie Sheen, his ex-girlfriend?
Yeah.
Right? So Bree right now is experiencing, whether it's true or not, but I didn't know. And we had this, imagine as a woman or man sitting there where you thought you knew somebody, and now you're having to recollect all those times and wonder, just that could be any of us here.
Yeah.
So it's not just Charlie Sheen's side, but it's being the reciprocated side too, to just remember, sex is something.
And it's not
that you
just
have to
sex. We want to emphasize
that's
that.
not the only way.
You can get it through intravenous drug use.
Yes.
There have been people that had blood transfusions, things like
completely
that.
innocent.
But there are ways. There are medications and things to control it. He does not have AIDS. Now let's remember that.
He has HIV, which is the virus that can turn into AIDS.
And I want to say, too, that in California, there's the DARE program, so that if you are experiencing, they give you free meds, things like that. We encourage you to go to thereal.com and look up the different programs. We're going to put that on the website.
Help for support.
Yeah, for support and for testing, because
And
this
to
is very,
educate
very
yourself
important.
as well.
Educate yourself.
Absolutely.
Knowledge is power.